Hello, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us here today. The pandemic, as we all know, has completely redefined the meaning of customer experience. While customer has always been king for companies across domains, the pandemic has placed the customer on a higher pedestal. To speak more about this, it's a pleasure to have with us today Mr. Dinesh Venugopal, the president of Concentrix Catalyst. Hi, Dinesh. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Supriya.
Yeah. So Dinesh, the pandemic has been tough for companies across all verticals. So what were some of the common challenges that you faced when it came to customers?
So every company today talks about customer experience, but we believe at Concentrix Catalyst that customer experience is that rocket fuel driving and transforming our customers. For example, a shoe company is no longer a shoe company, but it's a skater lifestyle company. A healthcare company, the pandemic has really accelerated this change. So healthcare company is no longer providing just healthcare services. They are a connected wellness company, right? Because that's how the pandemic has impacted how you interact with each of the elements of customer experience. So we at Concentrix Catalyst have always believed that this primary driver is why companies succeed. Right. And what the pandemic has really done is what should have happened in 2025 or 2026 is been pulled back into 2021 and 2022. So it's really brought forward the changes that would have happened over the next 3 to 5 years, has brought it back into the mix. So I think that's the big difference that we have seen with the last couple of years.
Yeah, along the same line, Dinesh, I mean, you mentioned the pandemic and the changes being brought due to the pandemic, right? I mean, all of us had to stay home and, servicing customers became so much more different due to the pandemic. So what are some of the pandemic-induced changes that customers, have appreciated and now cannot do without?
So I can talk to you from how our customers interacted with their customers. For example, a lot of the retail stores started doing curbside delivery. Now, you think about curbside delivery. Is this a concept that was reserved for a very special few, maybe the VIP customers? That became the norm, which means all of the services and processes that needed to go to get curbside delivery done, right from redesigning the entire process of how inventory gets to a store, how inventory gets delivered, how the customer interacts with the different systems. All of that is completely changed and transformed. That's one example. On the healthcare side, telemedicine and how patients interacted with their doctors was almost always face-to-face. And we saw one of our customers who was seeing about 1,000 televisits a year, saw 200,000 televisits a month. So you can see it is one of some of these things existed in customers, but they never became mainstream. So what the pandemic has done is really accelerate. So that's on the customer's customer. Then think about us on the services side. We are a services delivery firm. We are delivering services to our customers. And all of our employees are now, almost 100% is working from home on the digital side, right? So you can see that big shift that happened about a couple of years ago, which we thought was temporary. Every 3 months, we're saying we'll be back in the office in 3 months. Now we have moved to a completely hybrid model. And I think we believe that this is here to stay. I think more and more employees are going to demand that they have a much more flexible model. Our customers are going to be okay with that. Earlier, we used to say a customer would say, I want to serve this service to be delivered out of Seattle. Now there's no concept of Seattle. Our employees could be anywhere, but they have to work in a collaborative environment, which means the third leg of the stool is the tools, technologies required for us to collaborate and be successful. So you think about this three-prong. One, how our customers interact with their customers, how our employees interact with the customers, and what is the set of tools, technologies required to make this transformation real. I think that's really been the big shift in how most enterprises approach the pandemic. And I think most of these changes are now permanent. A year ago, I've talked to a bunch of CEOs, and most of them say, oh yeah, we're all going to go back to the office. It's all going to be back to the same. But I think now more of them are realizing that it's never going to be the same. It's changed us forever. This river has changed its course forever.
Yeah, that's a little, I mean, it's a different take than what I've been hearing. Everybody's talking about resuming normalcy and going back to the office. So yeah. So Dinesh, what are some of the customer experience trends that we can look forward to, post pandemic?
Right. So we look at this from three angles. So what we are now experiencing is in the customer experience, how you directly deal with the customers. Over the next few years, you'll see that transform into what we call business of experiences, right? How does an end-to-end, like I talked about curbside pickup, or how wellness gets built into a patient interaction model. Today, wellness is seen as very simple. Prevention is seen as very different than when you go to a doctor, but how does it all get built? So that's the business of experiences. And I think that is going to significantly change and transform how patients interact with their provider, whether the doctors, wellness providers, etc. Right? So those are really, really important shifts that are seeing. And then the next shift, I think the metaverse shift is another shift that we all thought was far away, but it's here to stay. And I think metaverse is going to hit us next. I'm predicting that next year when we have this conversation, Supriya, we'll be doing this in the metaverse.
That'll be great. Actually, I'll be looking forward to that. So you mentioned metaverse, Dinesh. What about the other new age technologies? Like how are they impacting customer experience?
So from our perspective, we think there are the customer experience is going to transform the way technology being used. So at Catalyst, we have 6 service lines that we are building out, right? First service line, strategy and design. And strategy and design is how does customers see their new future? How does the design world change? Because design was not that important a few years ago. Now design has become very important because everything is done through digitally. And so the digital to physical mix is becoming extremely important. So at Catalyst, we believe we bring great design and technology together. Right? So the strategy and design piece of how people think is becoming important. People don't think about, they see this as a technology piece, but design and design engineering becomes extremely important. The second piece of this is, now think about this as how does this design gets translated into experiences. That's where the experience platforms becomes important. There are a lot of new technologies, the partnerships that we have with Google, Adobe, Microsoft, all of them become important because we are not just delivering on new technology, but technologies that these big, large players like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Adobe is delivering to customers. So our ability to really use that technology is where we call experience platforms. Then there are digital technologies that are completely transforming. So one area is immersive technologies, right? Where metaverse is the next extreme version of that. The third thing is called edge computing. For example, we're working with a large fast food retailer who's looking to get information about what happened to their milkshake machine live so they can fix it, repair it, and reduce the amount of downtime. To do that, they need to have IoT machines that are IoT enabled. Once they're IoT enabled, how does that translate to the edge and how does it get translated back to the servers? That whole IoT is another area we see significant boom happening. And then finally, everything cloud and cloud related, and tied to that is the data and insights that come through it. So I think that the firms that will be successful, Supriya, the firms that can bring all of this together. Technologies by themselves exist, but our ability to stitch this together from strategy and design to experience platforms to digital engineering to data and analytics, and then finally through automation, pull it all together. That's what Catalyst excels in. And we believe that it's not that one technology, whether it's IoT or immersive or metaverse, that's going to transform. It's how do you bring these use cases to life? And that's what we are focused on, Supriya.
That's good to know, Dinesh. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. If I'm not wrong, Catalyst is a newly formed unit of Concentrix, right? I mean, so what are some of your growth plans in India? What are some of the verticals that you're targeting? I mean, you mentioned healthcare a lot. So what are some of the other verticals that you're targeting, and what are your hiring plans for India?
Okay, first of all, I think, we are delighted to be part of the Concentrix family. So I was CEO of a company called PK that got acquired by Concentrix in December. And then when we became part of the Concentrix family, we also merged a couple of other units. One was called Tiger Spike, the other was marketing. So we brought all of this together. And now we have about 6,000 people worldwide. And as we start expanding Catalyst, Catalyst is seen as a growth unit within Concentrix. And we have significant growth plans. Our customers, and the demand is really going through the roof, a significant demand for digital transformation. And today, Catalyst has operations in the US. We have a strong presence in the US. We have delivery centers in the US. We have delivery centers in Mexico, Argentina, and India, right? Of all the delivery centers, we believe that one of the biggest, strongest delivery centers are the ones in India. And we continue to believe that India is going to be a linchpin for us when it comes to delivery. So we have about 2,500 people within different centers in India from just the Catalyst organization. The larger Concentrix has about 70,000 people, right? So, but for the Catalyst technology digital transformation arm, we expect that to double over the next 12 to 18 months. And we believe that demand is so strong. So we have to look at all kinds of hiring models. We're very excited about it. And that's one of the reasons I'm here working with the team to see how can we accelerate our hiring, what are the hiring pools that we can look at, and how can we bring the best of talent. And we expect to hit the market in a big way, because the work, like you said earlier, we are working in cutting edge, leading edge technology that people would love to be part of. We're not in the commoditized, application development, modernization bit, right? We're truly building out next generation experiences. And that's why our unit is going to really be able to attract good talent, is what we feel.
Thank you so much, Dinesh. I mean, customer experience, like you mentioned, it's become really important, in the current age. And, thank you so much for giving us so many unique insights. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Supriya. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. The pleasure was ours. Thank you.
So Supriya, I have a question for you while the recording is done. Yeah. So yes. How do you see the hiring model? What do you see? Generally, what are you hearing?
The stuff that you mentioned, Dinesh, it looks really like, you're working on state-of-the-art technology and, on top-notch technology, right? It might be a bit of a problem to find skilled employees, right? The kind of people that you need, that is a bit of a challenge, is what we hear. I mean, you'll be able to find engineers, you'll be able to do everything. I mean, you'll be able to find people for sure, but there might be some sort of a skilling that you may have to provide from your end. Yeah. If you really want to deliver on the things that you mentioned.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think we have focused a lot on learning and development. So we have a complete
so you are
significant. So we're not expecting people to hit the ground running. So we're going to help bring them in, train them on different new age technologies. But we need to definitely have people who have the aptitude for. That's why we need to get bright people in. Once we get the bright people in, we have an entire learning model that we have built. We call them learning gardens, that really is helping build the next generation talent for us. And hopefully they'll stay with us when they find the work is interesting. Right? That's the other piece of holding on. But by the way, I believe that the great resignation is also a good model for great attraction. Right?
Absolutely. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, that's the only way to look at it. Maybe because I'm short, I always see the glasses half full. So I think that's the way to look at this. Right?
That's great. I mean, if you are willing to provide them skilling and everything, I'm sure you'll be able to find bright talent. And the culture is everything, right? If the culture is great, I'm sure the talent will stick to the company. They won't go anywhere.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dinesh. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.